3,
Damn.
2.
Okay, welcome back to Midwest, definitely on a Mondays podcast. It's been like a month maybe since we uploaded.
It's been like 3 or 4
and
weeks, yeah.
Yeah, there was only
yeah.
one Monday in the past month, just so you know.
Oh yeah, fair enough. So we are here to talk about our various adventures in the Yu-Gi-Oh trading card game. Yeah, I don't know. I went to Guadalajara with Brian.
That was
And
fun.
Mexico. That's a word for it for sure. Shu was judging some regionals. Daniel
Yeah,
won a regional like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks
it's my
ago.
list.
Yeah, I took notes and yeah, who
We
wants
had,
to go first?
we had a couple other players top the Minnesota regional and Wisconsin regional. But yeah, no, we had a couple players top the Minnesota regional, but they were all playing like Phantom Knight. So I guess that's all we have to say about that.
Yeah, that's like insane
or something.
No.
or something.
They're talking in Ryan's Discord that Phantom Knight might be just really good again because people are not like playing a lot of hand traps or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
The hand traps are
super
really out of
poly.
Yeah.
See, I agree people do start playing less hand trap, but I don't think the conclusion will lead to Phantom Knight and a new clone.
Yeah, that is just
If
unplayable.
anything, you should play Drytron, right? If there's really less.
Low key, the Drytron deck looks kind of sick to be honest. It's just like,
I also like that deck.
it's like we talked about earlier, like how Crow and Valor being played, it makes it a lot more difficult.
That's true. But yeah.
Also, Droplet seems to be working its way back into people's deck, and Droplet is like sort of unfortunately still pretty good against Drytron.
Yeah.
Like, if you're searching the floodgate, it's less good, of course, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I have struggled to see a real pattern with Droplet. I feel like at any given event, it's pretty hit or miss in people's decks. Like I haven't seen, especially with the 3 YCSs, we had Charlotte, Colombia, and then Guadalajara, all within like a month and a half or so. And I just like there wasn't a real pattern uh, following those YCSs of Droplet is either in most of the decks or not in most of the decks. Outside of Charlotte, I think probably people played Droplet more than not. But since then,
Well, I
it's
think
been hit or miss.
Charlotte's kind of too far to even talk about at this point.
Yeah, I
Because
agree.
I
I
agree.
think the format has like changed too much because like if you want to think about like how Droplet works against the Despia deck, you have to do it like either on the Chimera or the Mirror Jade. You can't do it on both,
Hmm.
which
Yeah,
is
Droplet
cringe.
is definitely pretty weak against Despia, which has the most market shares right now. Still
Yeah,
really good against the Scythe decks, which seem to be still in the game.
fortunately. Yeah.
Not
It's like,
super prevalent though, right? Like
yeah, they like definitely exist, but they're definitely not in top cut. Like,
they
I mean, I guess like Paulo got second at Guadalajara with it, but like he barely tops. He was X2-1. And the only reason he topped is because he had the 2 buys to start off with, so he had perfect breakers.
also, I think that YCS has like tons of outlets, right? Which is
Yeah,
surprising.
yeah, I know the Europeans had a bunch of cards from me before, and I was like, "No way, you're playing this," and they were like, "Oh yeah, we're all playing this." It's like,
interesting.
fair enough. So yeah, that was cool. I guess we can talk about Mexico since we just kind of talked about it.
Vamos a la playa.
Yep.
Walter's cards, vamos to the playa, and then stayed there forever. So, yeah,
Yep.
I'll go first. I
Okay, Brian.
I decided to play Sky Striker because I didn't have time to test basically at all. It was my wife's birthday. We were on vacation leading up. I literally got back from New York, turned around the next day, drove 6 hours to Chicago, and then flew to Mexico. Uh, and of the cards I had available to me and that I like really wanted to play, I was most comfortable with Sky. So I put together a list I thought was good against the current meta. Signed up, did all those things. Got to my table round one, took my backpack off my back, the zipper was open, and my deck box was gone.
Yikes.
It was
Insane.
terrible. Um, yeah, it happened in the shuffle after pairings got announced. I just didn't notice somebody unzipping it in the crowd of people trying to get to their tables. And I think that means that other people watched somebody unzipping my backpack and taking out the deck box and didn't say anything, which kind of sucks. But the good part of the story is I was able to recover. Well, not recover the deck box, but I was able to like get a hold of second copies of my entire list from different people there, and one of the vendors. I don't have the deck box on me, but he gave me a free like store branded deck box and sleeves, and sold me the striker core at like 40% off, which was neat. Um, and then I just borrowed a bunch of staples from a couple guys on luxury that were there, and I won 6 in a row, which was nice. And I made day two, even though some X2s did not make day two. That was probably the craziest part of the tournament for me. You can go X2 day one and not make day two of the YCS was just nuts.
Yep. That's what
R
happened to Pack.
RIP pack.
Wait, how many rounds was that YCS?
8 rounds day one and 3 day two.
Yeah, 11.
But
That's eight.
Yeah,
Wait,
it was insane, right? Because
shouldn't
X2s didn't
be,
make day 2, but X2 1s topped.
yeah, and
but
it's
shouldn't be the cut. What will be the cut? Top 128 and 16 points higher
no, it should
Yeah,
be
it was.
256
for
Yeah.
for
56
eight
and
rounds to get to day two with 3 rounds
Yep.
left.
and
But it,
then or 16 points higher, right?
It should be X21, right? So if you're 8 rounds, 24, 21, 18, 16, yeah,
yes,
16
16.
is
Yeah.
Yeah,
correct.
so X2 not making to day two sounds kind of ridiculous to me.
Yeah,
Yep.
they did
That's
it
against the policy.
wrong. They did it based on 9 rounds, I think. So I
Oh,
think they did 19 points or top 128.
Wow. I can't imagine getting screwed out of Top Cut by an error made by Konami.
Yeah,
Never happened to me before.
there were because so X2s went out to 150th place. So
mm-hmm.
that
Yep.
means what 22 X2s got cut
That's a
from
lot.
day two. Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah, I
Um,
was close to that number too. I think I was 120th or was 118.
yeah, and yeah, so it was pretty wild to me when I learned that, and I learned that I made it into day two after losing round one because I had to forfeit. Was pretty crazy. But my two like real losses of the tournament were to Ruben, who he Veilered my Verte, and then he mind controlled it to summon his own DPE and had Ash Bell for my engage and my shark cannon to summon his DPE that he used my Verte to summon, and then he like top deck. He drew 3 cards next turn and got to a kid and won, and I was sad.
Nice.
It was super unfortunate. Even through the mind control and the Ash, I thought I had it. His last card in hand was Bell. But in that match, game one, I drew Celestial Dasher, and game two, he drew Celestial Dasher. So games one and two are garbage. But then
Nice.
I lost in day two to Burger, who got top 8, I think.
Yep.
And for those of you who don't know, it's Alejandro Moreno Garcia, I think is his name.
Hmm.
And yeah, he was just playing Brave Despia. He opened really well game one, and then game two, he had branded lost for my top deck Bell. I drew Bell instead of Crow. If I draw Crow, he has no cards in hand, and one dead Mirror Jade on field, so I win the game. Unfortunate. But yeah, other than the stolen cards and the fact that I still have to replace Walter's droplets and prosperities, overall, Mexico's a lot of fun. They had like $2 mojitos and $3 margaritas, and they were good margaritas, of course. And all the food there was just like relatively cheap, and
Yeah, it was.
good. Like all the food was just good.
It was insane.
So it was a good time. I did not get sunburned, and that's
Gotta
always a
go.
win. That's always a win for me.
Gotta go. Yeah. I don't know. I played in the YCS. I was like, I've topped like maybe 3 events with the Prinkin deck, and I was like, how do I make my list worse? And I just took out all the good cards.
Damn.
Yeah. It was great. I was like, we'll play 43, so I draw Ash more often, but no extenders. Um, So yeah, my list was very not great. Yeah, I went X2 day 1. The YCS was cool. I don't know. Everyone there was like pretty nice. The vendors had some cheap cards, which was helpful for me. Got a bunch of Spanish stuff for some of my friends. The language barrier wasn't too bad because I speak Spanish like decent, like probably like a good 6 out of 10 Spanish speaker. So like I was able to like communicate pretty effectively. I think like my biggest complaint was like the lack of space. So there were like, I think like Gabe said it in one of his podcasts where he was like, I felt like he was playing speed duels. He had the 3 zones, which was like essentially what it was, right? There were so many times where I'd just fold my mat in half this way and play with like 3 or 4 zones just because it was so cramped. I think the highlight of my weekend was when I was playing with my 3 zones and I couldn't see my opponent's deck, so I was like, yo, I'm gonna take my deck box, which was blocking my view, and I put it in my lap, so I can like see everything because I don't have enough space. And he was like, yeah, cool, whatever. So like, he's playing Despia. I beat him game 1. We start siding. I like pick up my deck box, put it back on the table, take out my side deck, start siding, and he's like, you can't have your deck box not on the table. I was like, don't have any space, brother, but I also told you I was gonna put it down here, so like, relax. And he's like, no, I'm gonna call a judge. And I was like, sure, go for it. So like, judge comes over, starts speaking to him in Spanish. Dude starts like going off, like too fast for me to understand. And I was like, whoa, okay, hold on. So he just says his stuff. I talked to the judge. I'm like, yo, judge, this is what happened. I told him I was gonna put it in my lap because there's a lack of space. If you want to look in my deck box, there's 15 cards. They're the exact same on my deck list. There's nothing else in my deck box. The judge was like, all right, cool. I understand your side of the story, but we're still going to give you a warning. And I was like, you're not going to give me a warning. So I appealed, and the head judge comes over, and they're like, again, talking in Spanish really fast. And the only word I understand is the dude says game loss. And I'm just like, all right, fair enough. The dude's trying to shark me right now. So I talked to the head judge. Head judge was very nice. Kind of explained my situation, the lack of space, all that. And he was like, all right, there's not going to be any penalty. We're just going to give you an extension. So that was great. Cool. Whatever. Just kind of cringe that he was trying to get a win like that, I guess. But whatever it takes. So that was cool. Won that round. I lost round 4 to Despia, just opening like very well. And then I lost another round. I don't remember what I lost to. And then I was X2 going into day 2. I won my first round. And then the next round, game 3 against Despia, I think it was round 10. Yeah. I just got like 5-card comboed. Like a dude was from New York. He was really nice. So that was kind of cool to play against another American. But yeah, should have played a different list. Oh well. Oh, also, this was actually the worst part of the tournament. So there was one round where the online pairings went down, so we had to like paper pairings. But imagine paper pairings for 1,000 people in the hallway with one piece of paper. Yeah, it was insane. So like everybody's like scrambling towards it, and no one could see shit. So that was cool. But the absolute worst part was like the end of day 1. They post all the standings. There's a huge like mob of people trying to take a picture, and everyone is like pushing like as hard as they physically can each other, like actually aggressive. I was like, no way. And this one dude to my right comes out with his phone and just shoving people out of the way to take a picture of himself getting 350th place after day 1.
Yeah,
So that was
that was
sick.
so funny.
Wrong with people nowadays. Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy because like all the shoving made it so you couldn't get a clear picture either.
Yep.
So people were literally standing at the front of that group, like trying to take pictures of standings for like 2 to 3 minutes each because they just couldn't get a picture. And then every time you finally got still, somebody's arm like reached around to try and get one in front of you. And it's just like, oh my God.
Yeah,
It was
definitely not real.
terrible.
Yep.
Just wait and go to Zodiac afterwards. Someone's
Yeah,
gonna
that's
someone's gonna take
fair.
the big
That's fair. It
characters.
was just like we really needed to
Mhm.
know because of the cutoff. But yeah, I don't know. It was interesting. I got really sunburnt. That was sick.
True.
I was outside for like 2 hours.
Why?
Well, I was like in the shade, right? And my legs weren't because Brian did not want to share the umbrella that
Oh
he
my
got
God.
for himself all.
No. The umbrella wasn't even big enough to fit both chairs, regardless of where we would have put it or how we could have shared it. I told him 3 times to get his own damn umbrella, and he said, "No, I want sun poisoning." So
I
that's
did
his
say that.
own
I did say that.
fault.
I
Sometimes
was
you get what you wish for.
I was like, if I get skin cancer, I don't have to pay taxes next year. It's gonna be insane. But I just ended up getting burnt, and I was like, I got so burnt, and I also like hadn't had anything to drink, like alcohol wise, for like 2 months, and I like drank a margarita, right? That's what
Yep.
it was called, and tequila hates me. Um, so I was like drunk and burnt. And I was like so nauseous. I was like, no way, I actually have sun poisoning. And I was actually just drunk. It was insane.
This man gets 3/4 of the way through his margarita. He's like, "What liquor is in this?" I said tequila. He was like, "I can't drink this anymore." I was just like, "What?"
Tequila hates me. So yeah, that was sick.
wild.
I had a lot of good food. Hung out with a lot of cool people. I got to meet Patrick Hoban, very nice guy. Hung out with Ralph and Pack and them a lot. They're all very nice. Nick John, very nice guy also. Um, Shout out to all the luxury people. That was fun.
Yeah,
And yeah,
this is the first event I've been able to like actually just like hang out with some people on other teams and stuff, since Joe and I were the only ones from Midwest there. So it was good. It was a lot of fun. It was a good experience. Would do again. Our hotel was nice.
yeah, our hotel was nice.
It was really good.
Sounds like it.
It was cheap too. It was like
Yeah,
250 something.
we stayed there 4 nights and paid like less than $400 total.
Wow, that's
It's a
crazy.
4-star hotel too.
Yeah, it was like quality hotel. It was sick.
Yep.
It was good. And while we were getting our asses beat in Guadalajara, Daniel won a regional.
Yep.
They did do that. So while you guys are talking about all the people you got to hang out with and stuff, I drove 8 hours to Kentucky, the third best land in all of the world, and played in a 250 person regional where I knew not one human being in the room except for the people with whom I drove.
That's crazy.
And like that sounds fun to say, but if you've played Yu-Gi-Oh long enough, you just know people, right? You recognize faces,
Hmm.
even if you don't know their names, like it's just people, oh, that guy, I know that guy, and played that guy a while back and all that. I did not recognize a single human being there, which might take away from the victory, since if I don't know your name, I'm probably not losing to you anymore. But you know, it
True.
was really disorienting, frankly, to just not know anybody. I played Shoes Brave Despia list, pretty much card for card. Um, I don't remember if I made any changes now, but my deck list is on the YouTube channel.
Hmm.
Yep.
It was pretty good. A lot of games I would just end up using the Brave card, like I'd open just right, no branded cards, and just make Mirror Jade hand traps, and that works out. So that was cool. Um,
Yeah, in
I
a lot of
mostly,
ways, that's like better than DP traps, just because like you kill them next turn.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
So
I know a lot. I didn't play. I played one Despia mirror, which was a lot less than I expected. I tested a good bit for the Despia mirror because I figured it's fairly skill intensive. Like you have to play around a lot of cards and keep track of a lot of things going on at once. And then I just played against a bunch of like Sword Soul decks and two Numeron OTK decks.
Kentucky,
Two numerals?
Two.
What?
Kentucky.
Imagine
This
go
guy
to a
gave
regional,
me
you can see two of them.
this guy gave like I opened like really well. I opened like Brave stuff, like a pretty good hand, and like Mirror Jade Masquerade, um, like
Oh,
branded red set, and he went Raigeki, and I'm like, idiot, I have branded opening, and he's like, I know, Darkhold.
Second record key. Oh,
And I was like, oh. And he summoned the Numeron guys and was like, attack. I was like, okay, I'll be at, not that much. And he was like, oh, I also have double limiter removal. Wow. Wow, that's really cool.
That's insane.
Oh my
Damn.
gosh.
So it was
Your deck's
what?
pretty
My
cool.
Gibson Charcoal, Numeron Network, double limit removal.
Nice
Yeah,
5-card
that was-
combo.
That's insane.
Yeah, and the guy next to me that round, the guy next to me was also playing Numeron Network, and I made a joke about how ignorant it was that there were two Numeron decks who managed to win round one, and then I played him in round three, and he was like, "Hello there."
That's sick.
That's really funny.
But everyone was super nice. Like I said, I didn't know anyone, but by the end of the day, I felt like I'd made a fair number of friends. They were all super nice. There was a group of them who all had the same field center of Willy Wonka, and I kept playing them. I guess they're pretty good in their area, and they kept coming up to me like, "Oh, hey, you're the guy who beat all my friends." I'm like, "Yep." Then I play them, and fortunately, I was able to beat them over and over. But I think the last four rounds, I played people with that field center, which was cool. So clearly, their locals did pretty well at the event.
Yeah.
That's cool. Joe and I kept seeing people, I don't know who it was, but there were a bunch of people in Mexico that on their shirts on the back, it just said pro player. I think Joe
It
sent a
was-
picture in our group chat.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I
That
saw
became
it.
my new favorite thing. I was like, I'm gonna get one. I'm gonna get a fucking headband, a shirt, everything. I'm a
Pro player.
professional duelist.
That was pretty
That's
wild.
good.
Yeah, that was sick. Also, I forgot to mention, I had 5 people come up to me and ask for a picture or to sign cards, which was more than I was expecting for Mexico. But then I hung out with Roth and it was every 10 seconds somewhat. We would
Oh my god.
we were standing in line for registration cuz he was scrambling to do it, so I was just holding a spot for him. And throughout the duration of maybe 10 minutes, at least 25 people came up and asked him for a picture.
Yep.
Insane.
We
That's
were
awesome.
In that area.
Yes. No, it's just because Raphael Nevin is insane.
Well, I'm talking about before you hang out.
Mm,
Yeah, we
right.
we were sitting with Ralph at the table, and Simon, he was there, and he and I were talking and joking about a drinking game because we'd been sitting at the table for 10 minutes, and at least 15 people would come and ask for a picture, and then in the 10 minutes after we joked about the drinking game, 20 more came up, and we're just we'd be dead on the floor right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that happened to me too for the first time ever. Somebody came up and was like, "Are you the captain of Midwest Gaming?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's me." He's like, "Can I get a picture?" I was like, "What the fuck?" So
It's a super good feeling, honestly.
Yeah,
It's super
agreed.
nice.
it was pretty cool.
Yeah, Charlotte was the first time I actually experienced it. But it was definitely not what I was expecting in a different country. So also everyone in Mexico was so nice, except for the one opponent that I had. But everybody else was so kind.
Yeah, no, I made a friend when I was scrambling to get all my cards.
Oh yeah, that dude was
He
insane.
was just translating for me, and trading, helping me trade people and values and converting the money and everything. I would not have made it to round 2 to play in time without this dude's help. So that was a lot of fun. He and I are Facebook friends now.
Let's go.
Nice.
Shout out to Jose. He's the man.
Yeah. When it comes to meeting people who have seen you online or seen you do well, I just try to remember when I was that person coming up to Patrick Hoban and Chris LeBlanc years ago, just so excited to meet them for the first time at my first YCS, and I'm sure they were tired and annoyed and just wanted to sit with their friends, but they always super kind to me. And I'm not super crazy like they were back then, but I try to be a good steward
Yep.
to the people who think highly of me.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's been mad tough for me because I don't dislike people, but I definitely get overwhelmed sometimes. So I've definitely been slowly figuring out that Or just like how to like effectively be a good steward, pretty much.
Mhm.
People approach
Yeah,
you.
I think like after Charlotte, I actually pick up the habit just have a Sharpie in my bag.
Yeah.
There were like quite a few people at Charlotte that just came to me asking me to sign a card, and I was like, "Well, do you got a Sharpie?" Nope. Oh, unfortunately, I don't either. And that Sharpie turned out has like other use when I was judging the regionals later. The past 2 weeks, well, the past 2 times, the past month. So
Yeah,
it
give
was a
us your
fun thing.
craziest judge stories.
Well, it's not really like crazy, just a funny one. So I was deck floor lead Philly Regional, and then so I was like walking around also in between the floor guys and the deck guys. And then in Philly, we kind of have a tradition whenever someone get deck check, and they usually have like non Yu-Gi-Oh cards like Field Center tokens or other things, right? Technically, it's not legal, and it was a request to like, well, it's required to remove them from the deck box or even calculator cases. In Philly, we have a tradition. We after deck check, that whoever is responsible for the table for that player drop a Sharpie on the table and then put the cards next to it, saying you either right now write token or field center physically on the card, and you will get away with any possible penalties, or you're taking all of them.
That's
Interesting.
insane.
Is that a
And then
new
most
policy?
of no, it's just the policy states you cannot have those cards in deck box or calculator cases is like field center unless it's like clear stated on the card. That's what the policy says.
Interesting.
Uh, yeah, well, we usually just like offer a player a choice. Be like, you want to write token on the cards, or you want to take a penalty for it?
That's
Because
wild.
normally it's like it don't matter that much. We usually just ask them to remove it. Worst case, give them a warning, but it's like a very slightly warning in terms of that level of the penalty.
Yeah, I've definitely been deck checked with like Pokemon cards in my deck box, and nobody's ever said a
Mm.
Me
word to
too.
me.
Me too.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's you technically not supposed to have them.
Interesting. That's good
I
to
literally
know.
got deck checked in Mexico and I had 7 Turtwigs in my deck box.
Mhm.
Dirtwig.
Well, glad you didn't come to Philly Regional because I would just drop a Sharpie to you.
Hey, I have no problem writing all over my turtles.
That's funny.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've been deck checked at Philly regionals with Pokemon cards in my deck
Mhm.
box.
Well, sometimes you get away with it based on whoever is on the deck team that day. But
Sure.
Mhm.
usually for the people I like um, be doing it, we tend to just like ask them to remove it.
Yeah,
Makes
that's
sense.
fair.
Makes sense. Any any crazy judge calls while you're doing it? Like I saw a
Uh,
post in Zodiac of a picture of those two guys who apparently couldn't remember if it was game 2 or 3, or were like
yeah,
fighting about it. I was like, what the hell? That's so wild.
so usually whenever I step into a table, there is like not even a PO. But that run specifically, I went for lunch break. And then when I came back, I was told there's like one specific table just left there waiting for head judge because they don't know what game was it.
That was
It's
at
either
your
game two
regional?
or game three. Yeah, that was for the regional last week.
I did not know
I
that.
I came back. I was told, yeah, these two guys don't know what game is it.
Oh
And
my
then
god.
what was it? And then if I remember correct, they didn't even have like written life points from either side.
Classic.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so then pretty much I think the Hedged asked both players. One player was able to recall what happened in like the 2 games they played, everything, and the other guy was saying something, just kind of fumbling everything, and saying game one, game three was the same opening as like how the game started.
Hmm.
So
Mhm.
I don't remember what the head just drew because I was still on lunch break. I was just enjoying my lunch at that point, so I just didn't care.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
Yeah. I was
that's
also tired, so I
insane.
actually took a nap after, like for the rest of my lunch break until the next one started.
That's wild. And
That
can't you
Yeah.
look at your side deck and figure out like, whether you lost the last game by what you
Well, I
summoned
guess
in.
they couldn't.
Like, oh, I sided in dimensional barriers. I probably lost the last game.
Yeah, I suppose. I
Go
guess like
from
they can't
there.
look at their side, yeah. Like in the
Hey, but
middle.
in a case like that, that would be a pretty
Oh,
I
easy
feel like
fix. Like,
if
sure.
I was a
Yeah.
judge
judge,
me,
I'd
you
be
might
like,
want me
check
to.
your side decks. Did you decide to go first or second?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, maybe they just don't remember who went first with game one. Also,
Oh my god,
Yeah, I don't know.
that's just
It's
insane.
definitely a difficult resolution, no matter
there was
what.
like couple interesting ones happened. There's one match. It was like a typical, how should I say, calculator vs paper for life points issue.
Mhm.
Then we actually, well, from the result of it, we actually ruled based on the calculator because
Oh
the
wow.
paper, because what's on the paper was not accurate.
Oh
It
wow.
was just like
So the
mathematically
whole policy,
incorrect.
yeah, so the whole policy should be stayed. Paper is always over calculator, but has to be accurate first.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
But what
Yeah.
happened? What happened was like it was like a dry trunk guy play against someone else, and apparently the dry trunk guy summoned. It was like about to be time. Natasha like 3 times earlier that turn, and make Borisov into battle phase. And the guy just his opponent just didn't write down any of the Natasha King lifetime on the paper.
Imagine.
Nice.
And then they had technically two things happening. One is the light point issue where one guy, the Drytron guy, obviously had the light point game from Natasha. The one was the calculator. The other guy, his opponent, didn't have any Natasha games on the paper. So that's the first thing they argued. The second thing was they are arguing when is time called because the Drytron guy having the board store going to enter battle phase. It's probably against the Prank Kids guy. So they're both players' life points were like very high, like 9K plus.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Mm.
Yeah. So that was another interesting thing. What are most of them are pretty much just standard.
Mm.
Very cool. All right. The question of all questions. Brave Despia versus Pure Despia.
Brave,
Pure.
Brave.
Pure. It's not close.
It's not close.
brave.
Play me
Oh
for any
boy.
amount. Play me for
No,
any
stop
amount.
saying that. Come on. Ugh.
Pure
All
deck
right.
is crazy. Play no breaks.
Except for like Poly and Edge Imp Chain and
Oh yeah, those extenders are definitely breaks. My
your
fault.
extender you have to put in the graveyard somehow. Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, why would you not run bricks? Honestly,
What?
The main argument I've heard, and this is from one of the YCS winners,
Uh-oh.
Chris James.
Ah,
His
yes.
okay.
favorite thing to say is when you have Aluber and Right, you have to pick which route you go. And then you just have a bunch of dead cards that are unusable in your hand turn one.
Which I disagree with it because you at
Yeah.
least see a starter at that point. It's like
Did
you
you
were
real
complaining. I see two conflicting starter, and I don't know which one to play. I don't think
Yeah.
that's a valid point to say they're bad. At least you
Yeah,
see
I'm gonna
two.
agree with Shu. Like
Like,
in Yu-Gi-Oh, you do have to make decisions sometimes.
yeah,
I
it's
don't make
house stress.
decisions.
It's like, oh wait, we have Joe here. It's like you open. Wait, no, that one doesn't work. What are the good choice of?
Nadir and Fusion Destiny.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, you could just fusion Destiny then Nadir, right?
I mean,
Yeah.
well, yeah, but
Yeah.
you can't like if you like normal
That
summoned
was
if you
also I was
normal
gonna say.
summoned Alistair already,
Yeah.
Okay,
then
sure.
activating Nadir like you don't get to use the Dogmatica cards that turn.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I still get Schism.
Oh no.
What's more a good example?
Anyways, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you guys saw Pack's list. That list was sick.
Yeah, that list was cool.
I think like my opponent that I lost to round 10 at the YCS was playing Allure. I
I
thought
don't
that
like
was
that.
sick. I think
I don't like
Allure is
Dallas at all.
crazy.
I don't like Dallas at all. What's the point of a lord?
You can banish Mercurier or you can banish Tragedy and get the
So
search.
you just got a +1, but the monster you plus don't really matter.
Well, like so, like if you banish Mercury, right? You
You
banish
got
it.
Valbath.
Search. You search the dragon.
Or that. Then the
Yeah, then you
dragon
put
give you a
that
different
back,
draw.
and then you get another draw.
Okay, so
It's just literally Pot of Greed.
I mean, well, yeah, what you ultimately like digging for?
Wait, extenders. Like that's the thing, right? If you're playing like interruption, like let's say fusion either gets ashed or like your Lubellion like gets negated. You're
I
playing
don't think you
3
do.
Fallen of Albaz and Poly, so you
Okay,
can like still hard summon Mirajade.
let me give you
Yeah, that's fair.
couple counter argument for that. You allure ultimately you're digging for starters usually because you need a starter to make the extender really having a point. The number of starter don't change. The possibility of you seeing the starter with allures is actually lower than having the same amount of deck with just prosperity over the allure. That's
Sure,
one.
but the difference is like you can activate Allure going seconds to resolve Chimera.
Okay, I mean, so is having brave cards going second to break boards, right?
Yeah, but
Also,
that also has bricks in it.
at that point, you also build a deck like quite big in the core engine. You can't fit hand trap. Tell
Oh
me
yeah,
at that
no,
point, why don't you just play Drytron? You just
Oh
because
my
awards Drytron
gosh.
at that point, right? If you have
Drytron
no
is
hand
some
traps, play
ass.
S4 engines.
I'm out.
Why don't you just play Drytron? I love that.
There's no like single core engine that's stronger than Drytron. If you're arguing Drytron lose to Ash and Droll, so is that Branded.
Normal
Your Branded
summon
Fusion lose to
Ray.
Ash, your Lord gets super punished by Droll.
Yeah, I feel like Ray is probably a better engine. Like
Well,
Ray
I'm
by
leaving it
itself
off.
trades with like 3 interruption.
I'm leaving
You
it
gotta
off.
stop.
Ray is crazy. Just saying.
Please don't be mean to my friend Shu.
He's no longer my friend the second he said that.
God, yeah.
Striker best deck.
Oh god.
Well, never that.
Hmm.
Brian said, I don't know if I want to play DP in my deck. I don't know how good it is.
Oh, DP was insane in Mexico. I'm not gonna lie.
That was crazy.
I feel like in a format where all like brave cards still legal, it's like kinda wasting to not just play the brave cards.
Okay, but like, why wouldn't you play a deck that like plays the brave cards better, like pranks?
I would.
I
I
Yeah.
don't
absolutely
think
would.
I don't think Prank is play the brave cards better. Or I will say Prank itself is worse. Like the
Oh,
Yeah, I
Prank
think Prank is unplayable.
yeah.
yikes! I think I'll disagree with that. I think it has a pretty poor Despia matchup, but I think like it beats everything else really
Well, yeah, but
consistently.
the idea of a prank deck is you have one card combo starter and tons of like disruption cards, such as mainly just
Mhm.
hand traps, right? But where hand traps in the current format isn't performing that well. Why was the deck was doing good? Because hand trap last format was performing well, especially when they're like combined number like multiples. But this format is like you can have multiple hand trap and they don't do shit.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like, I don't think that argument's actually relevant anymore because if you just look at like Ross and Ruben's list, they played like 6 or 7 hand traps in a 50 card deck, and they were just playing like talents and droplet and mine and a whole bunch of other like impact cards. So like,
Yeah, that's the way to play it, I think.
yeah, right. It's I think it's the best brave deck. I don't like. I also think
I
Sword
think
Soul is like
Despia.
also very good too.
I think
I
Sword Soul's
think
really
I'll
good right
prefer
now.
Despia at that point.
And Long Yon is just really good against pranks and against what's it called? Despia.
Yeah. It was just like the fact that Nib isn't really in the format anymore is just.
But I think that's gonna change.
Yeah, I think so too. Especially if people start playing the list that like Pack is playing, you can
That's
like nib
exactly
that
right.
deck really consistently.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And
You
though
everybody
can
like
plays into
troll
it.
that deck very consistently. They just can't do it.
what?
You can troll that lower one.
That too. Yeah.
They just fizzle there. They can't do anything afterwards.
I
I
mean,
know.
that's like assuming that they're starting with a layer though, right?
I mean,
Like
it
if
still works against like other version of Despia.
I mean, obviously, it's bad if they go draw phase opening, but you only draw
yeah,
opening a
So
third
like
of the time, give or take.
right.
solo also only if they opening pitch something that can surge.
Like chain.
or tragedy.
Yeah. All right, guys. I do have to dip on out of here,
Mm-hmm.
but thanks for talking with me. This was super fun.
Yeah, I'm on my way out as well. That's good stuff. Thanks for hanging. I'm
Mm-hmm.
undecided on adventure cards versus no adventure cards in Despia. But that's because I don't really know how to play Despia. So.
Just
That
think
was
you
fusion
need a
something.
good
insane.
amount of hint
That
trap.
was insane.
I think you need a good amount of hint trap at least. So I'll definitely not go that route.
All right, sounds good. All right, thanks for chatting, and thanks for watching, viewers, and we will see you guys next week.
Yep.
All right.
He's
Yeah.
Bye.
See ya.